So I wanted to talk today about negotiation because I think you've never really negotiated until you've negotiated with a man with a shotgun. One of my lessons from the road, it was the winter solstice, and I was in a place called Tikal in Guatemala. And this is a huge archaeological park in the jungle in the north of the country. I'd spent a whole day exploring and was now stood at the entrance at dusk with a girl I'd met earlier from Colombia and a journalist from Guatemala City who was there to cover a Mayan solstice ceremony that night, taking place in the complex during a lunar eclipse, and he said that we could join him. So this group of Mayan elders, the journalist and the two of us, walked up to the entrance, and we're just acting normal, acting like we belong, until this armed guard spots us and goes, where do you think you two are going? And we said, oh, well, we're with the journalist. And he goes, oh, no, you don't. They got special permission. If you want to go in, you've got to pay, and it's 40 quetzales. And we were saying, oh, come on, that's not fair. That's racist. If you let them in, you should let us in. And he goes, no, that's the way it is. And so we were saying, oh, yeah, whatever. And I was complaining, saying, look, I'm not paying to look at the moon. It's in the sky, it's free. And we walked off. So that response is system one thinking. Emotional, principled, identity-based. I won't tolerate unfair treatment. I'm not going to be ripped off. It was reflexive and anti-authority. Once you take a stance like that, consistency bias kicks in. The ego gets involved. And what starts as I don't want to pay becomes if I pay now, I invalidate myself. A small money cost turns into a much larger ego cost. Creating a bit of distance, let me reframe the objective. I didn't want to pay to look at the moon, but it absolutely was worth paying to sit among the pyramids, under the stars, listening to the ceremony and watching a lunar eclipse. That's system two thinking. Dual process, utility-based. I can disagree and still participate. I will regret missing this more than I resent paying for it. In essence, it was a negotiation with myself, and I was willing to eat the sunk ego cost. So we walked up to the guard and we said, hello, sir, we've had a change of heart. We actually very much would like to pay 40 quetzales to pass through here. And he said, thank you very much, and on we went. It wasn't about being right or wrong. It was about getting what I wanted. I prioritized outcome over identity, and that made all the difference. In any negotiation, you need to know what both parties want, not just the guy with a shotgun. You also have to be clear on what you want. Now, of course, we were separated from the group and finding our way alone down jungle paths in the darkness. But we got to the main plaza, and the end result was a magical, unforgettable, unique night. During the ceremony, the lunar eclipse, and then actually sleeping out on the pyramid under the stars. I would say it was an experience that money can't buy, but I'll tell you exactly what it will cost you. You need to be at the right place at the right time. The planets literally need to align, and 40 quetzales. So if you need help with your decision making, if you come to a fork in the path, and it doesn't have to be a jungle path, it could be a market strategy, a job change, or a personal transition, Wiseman Advisory, that's what we're here for. Thought partnership, pressure testing and analyzing decision making to make sure you're doing the right things for the right reasons. So get in touch, let's have a conversation and see where we need to go next.